Cena and Styles play everyone's hits, and Breakker has a new vision in mind, so let's stop the 10 count. Next, WWE definitely stepped up its game in Perth, so it's time that we start the 10 count with topic number 1, for old time's sake. As Styles said, this match at Crown Jewel, we don't need a story, it writes itself. We will leave it all in the ring. It will kick A. And OMG, yes it did, as these are one of those moments when you just have to be there watching live, or, you know, if you were able to wake up that early, but regardless, we go through all the low moments, kinda like what SmackDown has been, and then we keep waiting, and it pays off, and this is that match that we were waiting for. And yes, I had all the feels here, as I was admittedly a little bit watery here when Cena put Styles in that Sister Abigail. And yes, props to Perth for immediately turning into fireflies. And man, it is just so easy to get me when I see anything with Bray Wyatt. Anyways, the Orton and Taker homages were straight fire, as those were my other favorites, and you simply can't say enough about how incredible this entire match was. But I do want to note here, I don't want to see anything like this for a very long time, or possibly ever again, as I typically do not like when there are so many finishers involved. And that was my lone criticism of the Cena-Rhodes rematch at SummerSlam, as no one should be able to kick out of 10 finishers or submissions. And you can only imagine that someone like The Doc would be saying that these guys were so bad at performing everyone else's finishers that, well, they probably just should have stuck to their own instead. And yeah, I'd say a couple of those are on the banned list, but hey, I guess pile drivers might just be legal again soon, since they keep seeing them over and over again now in WWE. But for one night, or for one very early morning in the US, this was the perfect conclusion to a great rivalry, capping off Cena's 100th PLE victory in one-of-a-kind style, so yes, A+ to both men. On to topic number 2, and that is watch out, Cody, as Rollins stared at that watch for so long that it was only appropriate that it would be a key part of this match, though it certainly was quite a bit less interesting than having Lesnar actually make that appearance, which seemed to be set up perfectly after Heyman told the Bronze not to interfere in the match no matter what. And with Breakker asking right there what would happen if Rollins lost, well, I simply didn't see the events of Raw happening so soon, but yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But up until the watch being used, well, this was a really strong effort by both men, as we got to see some rare moves by both, including Rhodes' Vertebreaker and Rollins' Spanish Fly, followed by a manhandle slam. And that avalanche crossroads, well, it was a rare one to see, and perhaps maybe he should just stick to the original version instead, as it surprisingly looks worse, because it's just kind of a very slow spin through the air to land that same spot as you would on a regular one. But the important one today was Rollins' coast-to-coast headbutt, but he was hampered for the rest of the match following it. And of course, he persevered to get that win, with the help of the watch, of course, but it sure feels like that was the cause of what was to come on Raw. So, I don't know, this could be trouble for the future for Rollins in real life, as I think he just might be injured, so we could see a new champion very, very soon. Alright, on to topic number 3, and that is Aussie Auss-Zilla, because before either of those first 2 matches that we talked about, Reed pinned Roman Reigns after some assistance from Breakker and a huge spear on Reigns. But the stunning part of this one was the Usos both deciding to actually help at the exact same time when Reigns had told them not to help at all. And then of course they went on to fail to take out the Braun Squad with a 3-on-2 advantage. Sheesh. But instead, having Jay be the cause of Reigns' loss by spearing him through that table was a pretty surprising turn of events, and here I thought merely getting a big match for Reed in Australia was good enough for him, but nope, he got to go out and win that match as well. He also got some very nice praise from Paul Heyman shortly thereafter, and Reigns was the big one here, yelling at the Usos telling them the whole world thinks I can't do crap on my own. And I mean, he's not wrong. Remember, I just said he snapped a 13-match streak in singles matches that he hadn't won without help. So I guess he finally got that through his brain too. So it is also a little bit strange that he said he doesn't want to see them until Christmas. So is Reigns telling us he's not coming back for Survivor Series and is instead going to be out until 2026? That would really be something. Topic number 4. Your watch has ended because the shocking move for Breakker to turn on Rollins this quickly really left the entire WWE universe completely stunned, as I think we were all set for the War Games match to include all 3 members of the Vision together against everyone they've been harassing on Raw for the last 6 months. Instead, WWE pressed the fast forward button, moving us right along for something brand new. And I guess it's never a good sign for Rollins to say that he didn't need anyone else in that opening promo, so clearly Breakker got that message loud and clear, and I guess a lot more clearly than Rollins saying that this weekend was one of the 3 proudest moments of his life. So I fear that WWE is simply forced to do this now with Rollins suffering an arm or shoulder injury that's going to leave him out for quite a while. Topic number 5, down under the moonsault, as I suppose you can't even main event and have a title match every time that WWE comes to your home country, but if they only come there every once and a half years, maybe you should. Well, regardless, Rhea, Io, Asuka, and Kairi still put on a fun, entertaining tag match, and Kairi only had one brief moment where she wasn't sure that she did the right thing, and that was following a boot to Io as Asuka was distracting the ref. But we got exactly what we needed to see here, and even though it didn't move the plot forward at all, it still was nice to see a good win by Rio, and that got Rhea to have double duty to also beat Kairi on Raw, so the hometown crowd could cheer for her twice instead of just once. But the question is, how much longer will Kairi take these beatings and slaps from Asuka before she's had enough? So the winner of the week is Stephanie Vauquer, and she simply needed to win this one more than Tiffy did, and she did so in resounding fashion, and actually I guess I'd call it pretty convincingly, as she foiled almost all of Tiffy's signature moves as she moved from both that handspring back elbow and later that prettiest moonsault ever, having pushed her off of the top rope to stop a prettiest moonsault ever earlier in the match as well. And she also got the knees up on a Swanton bomb, so Stephanie was well prepared for this one. And Steph also added in a few new tricks to that beloved Devil's Kiss and the SVB, as she again finished things off with her spiral tap, or whatever we're gonna call it, since the announcers still don't seem to have a name for it. I mean, who couldn't come up with a name for a very important part of their show, or moveset, whichever, who knows. Regardless, Stephanie ended Tiffy's undefeated 2025 right here and looks poised to carry that title all the way into 2026. So the loser of the week is the Street Profits, because we do have to hit one SmackDown segment, and before Dom's defense on Raw, this was the only actual title that was up for grabs during the weekend, and the Profits couldn't get the job done yet again. And even though they still lead all tag teams with 9 wins at 9-5-2, they already now have 4 straight losses in title matches, starting with their title loss on July 11th. And even though they've won all 4 of their non-title matches in that time, they simply can't get the job done when it matters the most, so it sure looks they've run out of chances now, with the Wyatt Six immediately being forced into dealing with the new look MFT, with their face paint and with the return of Tama Tonga, so maybe the Profits will go right back to arguing with each other, and yeah, I think we just might see that breakup. And lastly, the stats of the week. Yes, John Cena's 100th PLE win happened when he beat AJ Styles, and that makes him 172, 2-1 in 175 total PLE matches, including 68, 44, 2-1 in one-on-one matches. So, who has Cena beaten the most in those 115 one-on-one matches? It's Randy Orton. And who has he lost to the most? It's also the Viper, as Cena is 6-5 in those 11 one-on-one matches. So who's Cena's best undefeated records in one-on-one matches? Well, there's 2 that he's tied with Chris Jericho and The Big Show. with 4-0 records against each man, and for the worst records against his opponents, he has Undertaker, certainly no shame there, and also Roman Reigns, I guess that's alright too, and even Sheamus. He is 0-2 against each of these 3 men, so perhaps we'll go into more detail on that a little bit later this week. Looks like I did not beat the 10 count yet again, but at least I didn't get beaten twice this week, and also slapped like Kyrie did. But if you missed my picks for each of the Crown Jewel matches, even that tag match, be sure to go right on over here and check that out. So until next time, I am the SportsZu, and this has been Stop the 10 Count.